Hi everyone, welcome to If You Ask Jimmy. Earlier this year, in the month of January, I did a video on the New Year speech that Mr. Peterob, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last presidential election in Nigeria, the speech he gave is New Year speech. I titled the speech Peter Obi's New Year speech, Why the Hula Baloo? And in that speech, I mentioned how on point Mr. Obi was with that speech and how he articulated every problem, a lot of problems with Nigeria and what the leaders need to do, and how he challenged the president and the ruling party to resolve all these issues. I said how he broke the issues down and how those points resonate with every Nigerian, because Mr. Peterob was saying what every average Nigerian is saying on the streets, and addressing all those issues, and that nobody should have issues with that, because one of the APC, and so, in fact, a lot of the APC people came for him, and a lot of things happened. Someone was saying a lot of things about his life being threatened, but that speech was not life-threatening. Mr. Obi actually drove the point home. Today, I want to talk about the moves and the alignments, political alignments and realignments that is happening across, the political parties right now, of which Mr. Peterob, His Excellency Peterob, is one of the major players, and also Nasir El-Rufai. But Mr. Obi is the most relevant political entity in Nigeria of today. And I will zero in on his own moves yesterday. Yesterday was March 13th, and he went to visit the governor of Bauchi State, where Governor Bala'S of Bauchi said that he was ready to work with Peterob. Also, before then, Nasir El-Rufai had joined the SDP, and from grapevine, there were filters that they were trying to attract, or there were some talks around Mr. Peterob also aligning. But now with this move to Governor Bala'S, you can see just days apart, positioning is happening, and a lot of things are going to follow after that. Like I said, everybody knows in Nigeria today that Mr. Obi remains a fantastic political candidate. He remains the most fantastic, apart from those that are in power right now. He's the most relevant, and he needs a fantastic party to actualize his ambition of getting to power. I want to take us back in history, because in going forward for Mr. Obi and actualizing his presidential ambition, we also need to look at where Mr. Peterob is coming from. If you remember very well, Mr. Peterob joined the Labour Party. If you look at it politically, it was just like a year. Okay, it was just like a year before the 2023 presidential election, because it was on March 24th, 2022, that he declared his intention to run for the president of Nigeria under the PDP, right? March 24, 2022, that is less than one calendar year to the real election. The election usually is in February, March, that kind of thing. So he pulled out. He announced that he will be running under the Labour Party. And on May 24, 2022, he resigned his membership of the PDP. And then he joined the Labour Party. I told that story for a reason. Please, if you are yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe to my channel and click the notification bell. Also, share this video and like this video so that other people can get to see it. The move that Mr. Obi is making right now, and other political actors, those alignments and realignments, to me, it looks like it's very good, because they are starting reasonably early in the day. 4 years is too short to plan for an election, but okay, even if it is 2 years, whatever they can do, this is better than the last time. Because that last time, if not for the goodwill of obedience, it's not the easiest time frame for anybody to mobilize to win a presidential election in Nigeria. And like I was saying, the kind of goodwill that Mr. Obi enjoys across Nigeria, he needs an organically grown political vehicle to maintain his political base, to be able to support him from bottom up. If you look at Nigeria's recent history, there is no candidate that has the kind of die-hard supporters that Mr. Obi has. Very willing, very ready, and supportive. They are ready to spend, they are ready to mobilize. But if you look at the history I brought from 2022-2023 election, you will notice that there is something that is missing. Is it really missing? Let's say there's something that needs to be put in place properly, and that is the political base for Mr. Peter Obi. Remember very clearly, Mr. Peter Obi was not a lone candidate. Mr. Peter Obi was in 2019 a vice presidential candidate to former Vice President Atiku. And it looks as if they were going to have a joint ticket in 2023, but it wasn't going to happen because of status. Atiku also wants to be president. And during the primary election, he pulled out. Mr. Obi pulled out because, it wasn't going to fly his ticket and he needed to fly alone. And the rest, they say, is history. I went to 2019 to bring it back because Mr. Obi was president in waiting. If Atiku had been able to land, if that joint ticket had, if that joint ticket has worked and their government performs well, Mr. Obi will likely take over from Atiku in succession. At least, just on, how will I put it now? Basically. But since 2022, where Mr. Obi has been galvanizing his own support base, and it is very visible that he was able to pull a lot of weight in Nigeria. What needs to be done is probably what is currently happening, or maybe not, because if you check very well, Mr. Obi, he is a product of APGA. If he had remained in the PDP is in disarray right now. I think he saw all of that and he had to jump ship to Labour. Labour was the darling party of everybody in the last election. Guys, where is the Labour Party today? The people who put Labour Party on their head, the people who believe Labour was the saving grace of Nigeria, see how they eventually, in less than 2 years cycle, turned their back on Labour, and a lot of funny things happened there, and all the disclaimer, right? Now, Mr. Obi went solo in the 2023 presidential election. He saw opportunity in Labour Party. Labour Party was not much to reckon with except some states. Labour Party has always been a kind of special purpose vehicle that people use to achieve their ambition in states where they do not have the ticket of the major party. And Mr. Obi was able to leverage that. And other than that, there isn't much to write home about the Labour Party. So let us look at the antecedents now from APGA to PDP and to Labour. Labour is now in crisis. Labour is fractionalized. Aburi on one hand, governors and the other owners of the party, so-called, and the NLC on the other hand, and so many loyal party members losing confidence, and you can see all the back and forth. Now, throughout the last electioneering period, Obedience were always quick to remind all those people that care to listen that the Obedient movement is distinct from the Labour Party, and that is working for the Obedience right now because they were able to distinguish themselves. And in modern history, if they didn't distinguish themselves, they would have been subsumed and melted and lost in that party. But they are a standing entity even before Labour. They just moved en masse into the Labour Party. I'm going historically into the future now. In modern history, the Obedient movement is one of the most organically formed organizations in Nigeria. People out of the love for country, they see value and hope in Mr. Obi, and they trusted him, and they still trust him to lead. Like I said, they donate money, they mobilize support, and they move massively. Now, what Mr. Peter Obi is trying to find is a vehicle to achieve his presidential ambition. it is going from his political base now. The obedience is his political base, but Nigerian political system is structured on party politics, and with the kind of base that Mr. Obi has with the obedient movement, if they can move with him, he also, obedience is not only, obedience cannot deliver Obi to Nigeria, Obi presidency. What Mr. Obi is doing right now is that he recognizes the need for a wider reach to be able to get the higher number of Nigerians. Now, what is happening is that it looks like hobnobbing. He has gone to the PDP back. That is PDP where he was before. And if you look at the PDP, the party that is in now, it's looking nice that is talking to Bala, but when you look, that party is thoroughly fractionalized. Probably Mr. Obi will galvanize the party back together. Maybe they will rally around him. And I want to go into the comments that people are making concerning this move that Mr. Peter Obi is making. Just so you know, I sympathize with Peter Obi. The question is, what exactly is his game plan? If he is the president that can fix Nigeria, how does he get there? In my channel, I used to say life is not black and white, and Nigerian politics is not as simple as ABC. And if obedience they work on the fact that we can, the politics of exclusion, that they own Obi and only the obedience can push the Obi president agenda, it will continue to be limited to the number of votes the obedience can galvanize and they can deliver. Now the leader of the obedience, Mr. Peter Obi himself, has gone out to begin some strategic alignment. So on 13th of March, in channels, Mr. Governor Bala Mohammed declares that he's ready to work with Mr. Obi. And let us hear what the obedience are saying. Someone said, "Me and my family, we cast my vote again and again for Obi, a man with knowledge of what politics is about." Now, someone else said, Bala Mohammed said, "I'm ready to work with His Excellency Peter Obi." The name of this person, Franklin Valokeke, said, "I will support His Excellency Peter Obi financially, psychologically, philosophically. Going forward, I and my family will vote His Excellency Peter Obi over and over again." Now, another person here is saying, that is Presley Yaho 8356, says Peter Obi is unbeatable 2027. These are Peter Obi loyalists. Now, a lot of them have a lot of praise for Bala, because Governor Bala Mohammed, because a lot of people, maybe they are thinking in their minds that Northerners don't speak good English. So a lot of people commended Governor Bala, that he speaks very well, has education, he mixes, like Austin Obiora said, "I've always said that Nigeria has all it takes to be a world giant. Listen to His Excellency Governor Bala and His Excellency Peter Obi speak. Education mixed with integrity, intelligence, and all of those." Now, that is on one part. On the same clip that channels broke into two, channels titled it, "Obi meets Bala, SDP leadership, IYC decries alleged Fubara's impeachment." Let us see the comments under that. It's the same channels TV, the same lunchtime politics. "Good moves by Mr. Obi. In politics, you work with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Then you set the standard when you get there, because when the head is not corrupt and lead by example, everyone will follow suit. Politics is a game of numbers, and only coalition can unseat Pablo." Chinda Dev. It was Abiodun Kupi Toluwa Femi that said, "Good move by Mr. Obi." Now, Chima Chinda says, "Wherever Obi goes, we will follow, but he should be careful of this man. Obi has our full support in Rivers State. We voted him members and helped him win a landslide here in the last election, and we will do it again." Someone said, Oba_Aidan, "Obi will mess himself up with this SDP arrangement. El-Rufai is a big liability. Obi political goodwill cannot cleanse El-Rufai. Instead, El-Rufai's liability will dent him." I started this video by mentioning El-Rufai. El-Rufai, I will do another video for him, because you can see whether it is movement, whether it's gallivanting, whether it is just obnobbing, El-Rufai has a different, backlog. He has a different baggage, should I say, different from Obi. And like this guy said, may El-Rufai not be a liability to Obi if there's that alignment. But what we are seeing on the surface right now, that we are still realistically, not just surface, is that Obi is going the PDP side right now, whereas El-Rufai is going SDP. So let's continue. Someone said, at Chi Rich, he said, we want a leadership better than the crooks we have currently, but no coalition alignment merger. Call it what you like, and oust Jagaban. Asiwaju is the most strategic politician Nigeria ever had. That's about Chi Rich. But someone here is saying something. He said, don't allow them, Joseph Okeke, don't allow them to use your influence to subdivide southern votes for a northerner to win. These are possibilities. These are the calculations that people are making in their minds. It is not enough that Peter Obi is reaching out to align with other political forces in Nigeria. If he goes back to PDP, he's going back home, right? Now, but people are warning him that he should stop that he should not let them use him to divide southern votes, because we know how things run in Nigeria. Sometimes people are not sincere and they will lead somebody on only to, achieve their own aim. Someone said, Walter Ikalaba, if Obi tries to work with El-Rufai, I will stop following him. He said, I stop following him. It's better for Obi not to win than to work with him. Abomination. Osinachuku Okafor said, it's better to know the fate of Labour Party. Another person, Tit Record, said, it is sad that Peter Obi has become a political nomad, and this might be his biggest problem. How do you tell the people you stand with them but go back to the old gang? What a dilemma. Stephen Okerewa said, this Obi ailment should tell us who indeed Peter Obi and every politician is. We all supported him thinking that he's different from the PDP and other corrupt politicians, only to see him day after aligning with the same people he made us to believe are evil. Facts Uncompromised said, group of political suicides are campaigning SDP. They never start crisis. Crisis don't start. Walai, you go all fail. Joyce 9483 says, I am one of Obi's strong supporters in the last election, but I believe that anywhere he's going, he will put on their cap. But I noticed that anywhere he's going, he will put on their cap. Does it mean that Obi doesn't have an identity, or is that part of politics? When did you see any northerner change their own cap because they want to visit any tribe? Are you that weak? I don't believe this person. Patrick Usi Omoifo says Peter Obi is working for APC and shouldn't be trusted. I don't know. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Finally, Chirish again says, we want a leadership better than the crooks we have currently. No coalition, but no coalition alignment measure. Call it what you like. I think he already said that earlier. Guys, before I end this video, what Mr. Peter Obi, in his drive to get the political ticket of a party that can help him to win, he already has the obedience on ground, and they are going to work for him. They are going to really drive it home this time around. But like I said, somebody said earlier there that he plays the holier than thou politics of exclusion. But in this case, you can see that he is aligning. No single presidential candidate have all the network that can help him as a person. The vehicle to win election is party. And what is happening now is that politicians, I brought it from history. Let me drive it home because I don't want this video to be too long. Mr. Obi should hear this. Nigerian politicians always they collaborate, to remove incumbent presidents, to remove incumbent governors at the states, just like what APC did in 2014 to remove President Jonathan. But they have never for once coalesced or collaborated to fix Nigeria. That's one thing Mr. Obi should be careful for. Because the reason why I'm saying is that no new government has done anything new, because all they do when they start aligning like this is power brokerage. Someone, Tinubu, said it in 2012 or 13 when they were forming APC, said power is not served a la carte, that they are going to grab the power. And that's what they did with Jonathan. Mr. Obi, power is not served a la carte. And all the supporters, you have to really work hard to make sure that whatever they are negotiating is something that will make Mr. Obi able to perform. Because no new government has done anything new. They do power brokerage, and you know what that means? Who gets what, when and how. And by the time the new government, even if Obi gets that presidential disdain from them, he wins the presidency. By the time the new government start appointing people to offices, you will see square pegs in round hole. Nobody should rejoice over the political alignments of El-Rufai and all of these things. You can see these are politicians. They are all birds of the same feather. You see, can you see how they gathered at IBB's book launch? The only time you hear the secret among these politicians is when they fall apart, when things fall apart for them. They are all birds of the same feather. From my observation, Mr. Obi has a fair chance of becoming the president, but he has a lot of work to do. A house is not built from up to bottom, from top down. It is built from bottom up. A house is built from foundation to the roofing. And as much as he is a fantastic candidate, he has a history with APGA, history with PDP. He's going back to PDP now. SDP is trying to get him. He has the strongest organic base right now. But that organic base has not metamorphosed into a political party, which means that everywhere Mr. Obi goes, they will put terms and conditions on the table for him. Exactly. Even during the Labour Party thing, there was power brokerage. There was a limit to which what he could do, but they were more accommodating. His team, because of the followership he had, was able to to negotiate a very good terms and condition with them. Look, the obedient movement remains the strongest hope of Mr. Peter Obi. They have not formed a political party. If Mr. Peter Obi keeps going as an individual with the hope of the obedience behind him, the power brokers will continue to out-negotiate him. These people who love Obi, disobedience, cut across all ages and all tribes, and they trust Obi to lead. But without a political party that can actually find leverage on the negotiation table, there's something that is called games theory. This power is about games theory. It's about negotiation. It's about what do you bring to the table, right? Obedient needs to work hard now that there is no party that is Mr. Obi is leading in the real sense of it. He is knocking on the doors of other political parties to use them as vehicle, because to build a party from ground up, it is obvious that it is not easy right now. As a matter of fact, if some other people have the kind of followership, cult followership, the kind of, how will I put it, a dedicated, committed, sold out followership like Mr. Obi has, they would have formed a party by now. I can tell you. Yes, they may start small. Everything starts from a point and they will grow. And that is the way. You can see all the Labour Party candidates in the last election. How many of them are remaining? Where are they? They rode on the wind and the wings of the movement. They got to position. Where are they today? They are defected. That shows you there was nothing that was so peculiar about them that make them unique from other than the Nigerian system. They were not working on any ideology. They were political strategists. A lot of them said the right things. They went to the right meetings and they got it. Right? Some of them were not even originally, Labour Party members, but somehow they penetrated. The movement needs to work on how to expand their scope and propagate the ideologies of Mr. Peter Obi. Political parties are formed along ideological lines. And it is the ideology that is sold to the rest of the populace to win them over, right? Is Mr. Peter Obi now going to run on the ideology of the PDP that may not align with the obedience? Or any other party he goes to, hobnobbing is for temporary satisfaction. And if they give him that ticket, trust me, you may not, the Nigeria may not be able to recognize the Peter Obi that will come out of that, even though everybody believes in him that is a man of integrity. A lot of people believe that he's a man of integrity and he will not fail. But when you talk about negotiating, another word is compromises. There are trade-offs. You see, let me finish with this El-Rufai side of it. This thing is getting long. Every dissatisfied politician that are obnobbing in Nigeria now, Obi is not part of a dissatisfied politician. Obi is a focused presidential candidate who people believe can deliver. But people like El-Rufai, his antecedents in Kaduna, his disposition, his hardline stand, and the liability that he became, that the president, Bola Tinubu government did not confirm him for the ministerial role, religious and some other undertones, right? Forming alignment, is a tough thing. It involves a lot of horse trading. Horse trading means that even though a sincere negotiator, like people point Peter Obi to see, will be in a tough bargaining position. Peter Obi has his own baggage too. But the point people believe is that it's not as bad or having the kind of liability when you compare with most of the leaders. There's no Nigerian leader that is just so pure like that and pure as white as snow. It puts Obi in a tough bargaining position. Because what happens in alliances is what people call T and C, terms and conditions. You buy things or you sign up for something, they say terms and conditions apply. Anyone that will emerge out of this kind of coalitions, he will need to play the game of give and take. And that's what's called negotiation. That is what is called bargaining. That is what is called compromise. Guys, are you reading my lips? They will tell Obi, in order for you to give you this, you must be ready to give us that. Don't forget, he's going towards the north now, which he actually needs. And the north also is positioning for power. Probably they will be presenting Peter Obi to use another 4 years to get Tinubu out of power. Tinubu has used 4 years. They will not count it for Peter Obi that he is a new president that should use 2 terms. They will count it that the South has used 4 years. If by the time Tinubu finishes, and they should complete 4 years, even though it is not an APC member, it doesn't belong to APC. Guys, let us read behind the lines and see the power game. If that game favors Peter Obi to get to power, it may not favor the people, because it usually disables this kind of, alignments, usually disables the candidate from being able to do the good that they have in mind for the people. All right? So, Obedient movement has a lot to do in this time, because that is the largest support base of sympathizers that Obi has. His sympathizers are not in the PDP, and Obi and the Obedience require the cutting-edge strategy. All that Obi has his power lies in the Obedience. So he needs to work with the Obedience to have a cutting-edge strategy that will put him in control of the political base. To hijack PDP from the PDPites right now is going to be a big deal. It's not going to be like as easy entry and easy exit it was for them with the Labour Party. Can you see that it's deep? It's very, very deep. Even if it goes to SDP, yeah, maybe they can, because SDP is also a kind of special purpose vehicle that people use when they are dissatisfied with PDP or APC. It's just a transition party like that up till now. So all alliances like this current one that is being muted by SDP and PDP to deliver a Peter Obi candidate, it needs a lot of strategic thinking. And once the Obedience get it, you can come out. Mind you, presidency is not delivered just at the top. There will be organs that will deliver at the ward level for councillor, let's just say the chairmanship level, or at the states, because all these things add up. That's how you get people to work for you in different areas to be able to deliver the votes at the presidency. Obedience should also tone down, because if Obedience wants all other citizens to come out, all out for Peter Obi, to support Peter Obi, they do not want to hack people down when they make politics is about conversations, criticism. They must be tolerant of constructive criticism and also make their points and be agreeable. I mean, they can disagree without being disagreeable. Peter Obi is going to be the presidential candidate for all Nigerians, and he will be Nigerians, president of all Nigerians, not president of obedience. A movement will not win supporters by being hostile and being unapproachable and being, instead of, and not going out to really convince what the candidate can offer. If it is just about, some kind of rhetorics and narratives on the social media space, on the street, that is not what is going to warm people's heart to Peter Obi. Every vote needs to count to get Peter Obi to be president. I have great admiration for Peter Obi and his candidacy, and I think Peter Obi's adherents will do well to understand not to alienate others who don't carry the label of obedience like them. Sometimes people get bullied because of the passion that obedience have, and they don't just want anything to touch Mr. Obi. As a candidate, people will talk about him. As a president, they will talk about him, and they will criticize him. And most of the time, it is not all the time they will have nice things to say about him. So it's not about, being cantankerous. It's not about being hostile. It's not about being like, oh, our candidate is better than, our candidate is just the best thing that happens to sliced bread. Yes, you have to convince the electorates that he is the best thing that happens to sliced bread. You have to convince them to come to your side to vote for Peter Obi. See what happened in the Lagos election last time. It can happen in Nigeria. Remember, politics is not a faith-based organization. It's not a church or a holy book that you say just believe in Peter Obi dogmatically, fanatically. Just don't ask questions. Don't ask about his past. Don't talk about his present. It's not a religion. It's not a faith. Even people query religion. See what they are doing about church and Christian and pastors in the public space. It is actually politics. People will not have faith in somebody until you sell him to them. That is why the word campaign exists in politics. It means a lot of things. Peter Obi aligning with the PDP is just the beginning. This is 2 years to the next general election. I wish Peter Obi well, His Excellency Mr. Peter Obi, and I hope that whatever the brokerage, because it's going to be negotiation, is about, he will not be pulling out this time around. It didn't work out in 2022. That's why I pulled out. And finally, you have not heard me talk about Atiku. Yeah, people are saying that they can see Atiku's hand in all of this. If you go to that channel's report, people are saying in that comment that they see Atiku's hand in all of it. Maybe Atiku already sees that it might not really work out well for him to come at his age in the next election, or for certain political, equation will not work for him, and he realizes that the man that he has been working with since 2019 to achieve their presidential aim can deliver, and that is Mr. Peter Obi. If Atiku throws his weight behind Peter Obi, do you know that if the two of them had stayed together in the last election, President Tinubu would not have been in power today? I hope they see what they didn't see then. I hope they are able to work together, because Atiku is not in the front right now, but Atiku is PDP, and PDP is part of is Atiku. Thank you, guys. I wish Mr. Obi, His Excellency Peter Geoffrey Obi, the best of luck. I'll see you on the next one. Please subscribe to my channel, click the notification bell, and like this video. Thank you. Bye.